Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ngani Titan. We're here on Arctic and I'm on the IS-3. This is a tier 8 match in a tier 10 battle. And there are some very strong tier 10 tanks. There's an IS-7, an E50M and a T110 E4. There's also some pretty strong tier 8 heavy tanks there as well, which kind of negates a lot of the things that the IS-3 is good for. The IS-3 is really a good close-up, in-your-face, brawling tank. And normally I would go down to the heavy tank corner there at H8 with a tank like this, but in the current lineup that's probably not the smartest thing to do. It is usually, in my opinion, kind of essential that somebody goes down near the H8 position to make the defense of the base viable. Otherwise the tanks defending the base area are relying on their own view range to spot the enemy tanks, and frequently they don't quite have the view range to do it, so the tanks down at the base are only visible when they fire, and this makes the tanks, the defenders of the base, quite vulnerable to enemy tanks that come down, light tanks and medium tanks that come down to the other side of this position here, the other side of this little hill, come out there by the bunker, and they can spot for the guys further back. But if I'm in this location, I reckon I'm spotting as well. And now, okay, now there's a light tank in here with me, but I am in actually a better position to do the spotting at this side than the light tank, simply because I've got the armor for it. I can take the hit if I get one, and I also have the advantage that I can bounce a lot more shots than the light tank is likely to do. Although that's a pretty strong light tank, the T54 lightweight. So, and the enemy's problem now is they're too far back to spot the defenders. Or at least the defenders will be at the edge of their view range. So, as long as I can keep eyes on these guys and keep them spotted without dying, I think I have a good chance. Whereas if I had pushed forward to the normal heavy tank location, not only would I be vulnerable to enemy artillery, but I'd be simply rushed. They'd come up there where they are. There's what, 4 tanks down there, and there's no way I would be able to take them on. And they could overwhelm my position while, and then once I'm overwhelmed, I would no longer be spotted. They could then push forward the rocks there in front of me. And once one of those tanks is behind that rock, they can then spot the defenders. I'm trying to track that IS-7, because if I can catch him in the open, he seems to be the most daring and determined of the enemy commanders right now. And he's put a nice solid shot into me there and actually done quite a bit of damage. So I need to avoid that as much as possible. Shot him a little bit too much to the side of the tank. There's a VK 101P there making a run from my position. He's just relying on his armor. But again, he's been spotted and he's taken a fierce punishment for doing it. Now there's not much I can do about him, because if I get into a position where the gun is low enough to actually shoot him in a weak spot, I would be taken out by the tanks behind him. So I need to push back and wait for him to appear. But the IS-7 is using the opportunity when I'm not there and probably not spotting him to actually come out behind the rock, and he's now able to directly engage me as well. So I have to survive the IS-7 and watch out for the VK-101. So he's just come around the corner, and we put a round inside his turret because he has so little hit points left at that point that I can take him out. And if he turned the turret to me, where I wouldn't be able to take him out, he'd be taken out by the guys across the way at our the defenders of our cap circle. So now it's just me and the IS-7, but the enemy position has collapsed anyway. The guys that went north were able to rush the position at A5, A4, and they've now collapsed the whole northern side of the enemy's position, and they're just closing in on this team from the north as well. The IS-7 is closing into my position and I can't get the gun depression down to shoot him. Especially with the 101, the wreck of it, but he's been taken out. And that kind of frees me up. There's just the AMX M4. Now, that's a pretty decent tank, and he's in a good enough position, and he hasn't taken much damage yet. So I'm trying to put one through the turret cheeks there, but I bounce it up the front of the tank. And there's another medium right at the corner, and the enemy are still... They're still holding out in this position, but that M4 has decided to give up on the game, and he's actually gone and drowned himself. Which I don't know, I just don't understand that kind of an attitude. He still had the opportunity to put a few more hits in, and why not? I mean, drowning yourself, fuck you. At this stage it makes no difference, because once you drown yourself, you just give away the silver and XP anyway. The enemy team gets it. Just no individual player gets it. However, our combined damage is close to 3,000, so I think it's a particularly good result considering that we were bottom tier. We come second by experience. It's not necessarily the most exciting of games, but I just think it's important every now and again to realise that just because you're a bottom tier tank doesn't mean that you can't contribute. And contributing to your team, attracting enemy fire, attracting the enemy attention, spotting enemies are all useful activities. It isn't all about just inflicting damage and kills by yourself. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't already done so, please consider giving the channel a subscription, and I will catch you all again soon. Goodbye.